Welcome to Sleepy Holidays, a channel where ancient celebrations come alive through gentle storytelling. Here we explore the deep roots of cherished traditions, transforming historical moments into peaceful narratives, perfect for drifting into dreams. Each episode invites you to journey through time, discovering the true origins of holidays that warm our hearts. If these stories bring you comfort, please like and subscribe to help us share more restful tales across cultures and generations. Tonight, we travel back over 2,000 years to ancient Jerusalem, when shadows grew long and hope seemed distant. This is the true story of Hanukkah, not just a celebration of light, but a tale of courage against impossible odds. We will witness the Maccabean revolt, feel the weight of sacred oil in trembling hands, and discover how a single flame became 8 nights of wonder. Let this ancient miracle guide you gently into peaceful sleep. Chapter 1. An Ancient Flame. The year is 167 BCE, and dusk settles over Jerusalem like a heavy blanket. In the distance, the Second Temple stands silent, its sacred halls defiled by foreign hands. King Antiochus Epiphanes has forbidden Jewish worship, turning the holy sanctuary into a shrine for Zeus. Yet in the gathering darkness, whispers move through narrow streets like autumn leaves, carrying words of resistance, of faith that refuses to bend. In the village of Modian, an elderly priest named Mattathias watches the sunset paint the hills in shades of amber and gold. His weathered hands rest on his walking staff, feeling the weight of years, the burden of watching his people's traditions crumble. When Syrian soldiers arrive demanding sacrifice to Greek gods, something ancient and powerful stirs within him. The flame of defiance, long smoldering, is about to burst into rebellion. The moment arrives like thunder breaking silence. A fellow Jew approaches the pagan altar, ready to offer sacrifice, and Mattathias strikes. His sword finds its mark, and the priest's voice rings out across the village square, calling all who honor the covenant to follow him. His 5 sons step forward, led by Judah, whose strength will earn him the name Maccabee, the hammer of God. They flee to the hills, these rebels against an empire. In caves carved from limestone, they gather followers, farmers and merchants, scribes and shepherds, all united by something stronger than sword or spear. At night, around flickering fires, they speak in hushed tones of freedom, of the temple that waits in darkness, of the eternal flame that once burned there, now extinguished but not forgotten. Months pass like water over stone, wearing away resistance, building strength. Judah Maccabee proves himself a master of mountain warfare, striking Syrian outposts like lightning, then vanishing into rocky paths his enemies cannot follow. Each victory brings new recruits. Each defeat of foreign soldiers whispers to the people, freedom is possible, the covenant endures, hope lives in hidden places. The clash of steel rings through valleys, echoing off ancient stones. Syrian chariots thunder across plains, but cannot reach the rebels in their mountain strongholds. Arrows whistle through morning mist, finding their targets among enemy ranks. Blood seeps into earth that has known war for centuries, yet something different stirs now. Not conquest for its own sake, but the desperate hope of a people fighting for their soul. In quiet moments between battles, Judah finds himself thinking of the temple, its golden walls that once caught sunlight like captured stars, the menorah that burned with perpetual flame, the sacred oil pressed from olives grown in Jerusalem's hills. He can almost smell the frankincense, hear the ancient prayers, feel the presence that once filled those hallowed spaces with warmth beyond understanding. 3 years of warfare take their toll, but the tide begins to turn. General Lysias, commander of Syrian forces, finds his mighty armies scattered by these mountain fighters. One by one, fortified cities fall to the Maccabees, their bells ringing out liberation like songs of joy. Jerusalem itself comes into view, its walls gleaming in afternoon light, the Temple Mount rising like a promise kept. The gates of Jerusalem swing open, and Judah's warriors enter like pilgrims coming home. Their footsteps echo through empty streets, past shops shuttered and houses abandoned. But their destination pulls them forward, up winding paths toward the Temple Mount, where their ancestors worshipped, where Abraham nearly sacrificed Isaac, where Solomon's glory once blazed like the sun itself. What they find breaks their hearts. The temple courts lie strewn with debris, Greek statues defiling sacred spaces, pagan altars built where once the eternal flame burned. Weeds push through cracked stones, and silence hangs heavy where joyful prayers once rose. Yet beneath their grief, something else stirs, determination to restore, to cleanse, to rekindle what was lost. to make holy again what was profaned. The work begins at dawn. Stone by stone, they clear away the defilement, sweeping out years of neglect and sacrilege. New altar stones are carved with gentle precision, following patterns passed down through generations. The golden menorah, hidden during the persecution, emerges from its secret place, tarnished but unbroken, waiting to fulfill its ancient purpose, to burn with light that never dies. But when they search for oil, their hearts sink. Only one small flask remains, sealed with the high priest's mark, enough for just one day's burning. To make more sacred oil requires 8 days of careful preparation, pressing olives, blessing the precious liquid, following rituals as old as the covenant itself. How can they light the eternal flame with so little, when tradition demands it never be extinguished? Yet faith whispers what reason cannot fathom. With trembling hands, they pour the single day's portion into the menorah's golden cups. A flame touches the wicks, and light blazes forth, warm and steady, pushing back shadows that have lingered too long. The temple fills with radiance, and something miraculous begins, something that will be remembered for thousands of years, something that transforms scarcity into abundance. One day becomes 2, then 3, then 4. The flame burns on, defying every natural law, fed by oil that should have been exhausted. 8 days pass in wonder, 8 days of light where there should have been darkness, 8 nights of warmth where there should have been cold ashes. The miracle whispers its ancient truth, that sometimes, when human strength fails, divine grace provides exactly what is needed. Chapter 2. 8 Nights and 8 Lights. In the quiet aftermath of the temple's rekindling, something miraculous lingers in the sacred air. The flames that should have lasted but one day have become the foundation of a story that will echo through millennia. Here, in this hallowed space, we witness the birth of a tradition that will illuminate countless homes, countless hearts, across the vast expanse of time and distance. The temple breathes with renewed life, its stones still warm from the celebration of rededication. Priests move with reverent steps, their footfalls echoing softly against ancient walls. The air itself seems to shimmer with possibility, with the understanding that they have witnessed something beyond the ordinary. The oil that burned impossibly long has left its mark, not just in flame, but in the very soul of the people. At the heart of this miracle stands the menorah, not merely a candelabra, but a vessel of divine presence. Its form rises with dignity and grace, each curve and angle crafted with purposeful intention. The brass gleams softly in the ambient light, reflecting centuries of prayers and hopes. This is no ordinary lamp, but a bridge between the earthly and the eternal, a constant reminder of light's triumph over darkness. Run your fingers along the brass candle holders. Feel their smooth warmth beneath your touch. Each holder has been shaped by skilled artisans, their hands guided by generations of tradition. The metal carries the patina of ages, the gentle wear of countless lightings and extinguishings. These simple cups cradle more than wax and wick. They hold the accumulated prayers of a people, the whispered hopes of the faithful. 9 branches reach toward heaven, each carrying its own sacred meaning. 8 branches stand as witnesses to the 8 nights of miracle, while the 9th, the shamash, serves as servant and guardian. This helper flame lights all others, a reminder that sometimes the greatest honor lies in service. The symmetry speaks of balance, of wholeness, of a divine order that underlies all creation and sustains all hope. The shamash stands apart, elevated above its companions, yet forever connected to their purpose. This guardian flame embodies the spirit of giving, of reaching out to kindle light in others. Its position speaks of leadership through service, of strength found in lifting others higher. When darkness threatens to overwhelm, the shamash reminds us that we too can be sources of illumination, carriers of hope in troubled times. Candlelight casts gentle shadows on ancient walls, creating a dance of illumination that has remained unchanged for millennia. The soft glow wraps around worshippers like a warm embrace, inviting contemplation and peace. Each flame flickers with its own rhythm, yet together they create a symphony of light. The darkness retreats not in fear, but in respect for this ancient covenant between flame and faith. Listen closely. Can you hear it? The tranquil sound as the shamash touches each waiting wick, that soft whisper as flame meets flame, passing the gift of light from one to another. It strikes an emotional chord deep within the soul, a recognition of something profound and eternal. This simple act of lighting becomes a prayer, a celebration, a defiant declaration that darkness will never have the final word. As years turn to decades, and decades to centuries, the temple's miracle began its journey across the world. The Jewish people, scattered like seeds on the wind, carried this sacred flame within their hearts. The physical menorah might remain in Jerusalem, but its spiritual light traveled with every exile, every refugee, every family, seeking a new home in foreign lands where ancient traditions would take new root. In the diaspora communities, from Babylon to Rome, from Spain to the furthest reaches of the known world, the menorah found new expressions. Local artisans crafted their own versions, using available materials and regional techniques. Silver replaced brass in some lands, wood in others, yet the essential form remained constant. 9 branches reaching upward, 8 nights of memory, one eternal flame of hope burning bright in every Jewish home. Through centuries of wandering, the menorah served as an innocent beacon of hope, a lighthouse guiding scattered souls back to their spiritual harbor. In times of persecution, when practicing faith required courage, families would gather in secret around their precious lights. The menorah became a symbol of resilience, of survival, of the unbreakable bond between a people and their covenant with the divine, shining steadfast through the darkest nights. Each new land brought fresh challenges, new ways to preserve ancient wisdom. In medieval Europe, craftsmen created elaborate menorahs from precious metals, their designs incorporating local artistic influences, while maintaining sacred proportions. In North Africa, simpler clay versions served the same holy purpose. The message remained constant across all variations. Light conquers darkness. Faith endures beyond all earthly trials and tribulations. Mothers taught daughters the proper way to light the candles. Fathers passed down the ancient prayers to sons. The menorah became a bridge across generations, connecting grandparents to grandchildren through shared ritual and story. In every new country, in every adopted homeland, families would gather as darkness fell, transforming ordinary rooms into sacred spaces with the simple act of kindling 8 small flames of remembrance and gratitude. Through expulsions and persecutions, through forced conversions and times of hiding, the menorah endured, hidden in secret chambers, buried in gardens, carried in small bundles during midnight escapes. These symbols of faith traveled with their people. The brass might tarnish, the silver might dull, but the meaning remained bright and clear, a testament to the human spirit's capacity to preserve what matters most: love and light and memory. As we prepare to witness the nights of celebration to come, the menorah stands ready once more. Its branches await the returning flames, its holders prepared to cradle the dancing lights that will mark another year's observance. The miracle of long ago becomes present reality. The ancient story transforms into contemporary celebration. The past and present merge in the eternal dance of flame and faith, ready to illuminate hearts once more. Soon, very soon, families will gather as they have for over 2,000 years. Children will watch with wonder as the first candle is lit, then the second and third. The menorah, this enduring symbol of hope and resilience, will once again fulfill its sacred purpose. 8 nights stretch ahead like a promise, 8 opportunities to remember, to celebrate, to pass on the light that no darkness can ever truly extinguish, the eternal flame of faith. Chapter 3. Dreidel, dreidel, dreidel. The temple candles fade behind us as we step into warm family homes, where children gather around low tables, their small hands clutching wooden spinning tops. Here the sacred meets the playful, where ancient symbols dance on polished floors, and laughter mingles with the soft whisper of Hebrew letters, spinning through time, carrying stories older than memory itself, in the gentle rhythm of childhood games. Listen. Do you hear that sound? The gentle clatter of dreidels spinning across aged wooden floors. Each top carries 4 Hebrew letters: Nun, Gimel, Hey, Shin. Together they whisper an ancient phrase. A great miracle happened there. But here, in these homes, children see only the joy of the game, the thrill of the spin, the anticipation as the dreidel wobbles, teeters, and finally falls still. Small fingers trace the carved letters, feeling the grooves worn smooth by countless hands before them. A grandmother sits nearby, her eyes twinkling with memories. She remembers her own childhood, when dreidels were carved from whatever wood could be found, when the game meant more than play, when it meant survival. But for now, she simply smiles, watching her grandchildren discover the magic of the spin. The rules are simple, yet the strategy runs deep. Each letter holds meaning. Nun means nothing, take nothing. Gimel means all, take everything. Hey means half. Shin means put in. The children learn quickly, their young minds calculating, plotting, planning their next move, while the dreidel spins, carrying with it the weight of history they do not yet understand, but will someday cherish. In this moment, the dreidel is pure joy. Chocolate coins scatter across the table, golden foil catching the lamplight. Children squeal with delight as they win, groan with theatrical despair as they lose. The game continues, round after round, each spin a small ceremony, each letter a tiny prayer, spoken in the universal language of childhood wonder, where every game holds the promise of magic. But beneath the laughter, beneath the innocent play, lies a story of remarkable resilience. Long ago, when Jewish study was forbidden, when Torah scrolls were hidden away, children would gather to learn, appearing to play this harmless game, while actually studying Hebrew letters, practicing their faith in secret. The dreidel became their shield, protecting knowledge, preserving tradition, through the simple act of spinning a top. Imagine, if you will, those ancient classrooms where children sat in circles, dreidels at the ready. When footsteps approached, when danger threatened, the Hebrew texts would vanish, and suddenly they were just children playing. The spinning top became a symbol of cleverness, of survival, of the lengths people would go to keep their culture alive, their identity intact, their future secure. The grandmother's voice grows soft, sharing stories passed down through generations. She speaks of dreidels carved in hiding, of games played by candlelight, of children who learned their letters through play. Her words paint pictures of courage, of mothers teaching daughters, of fathers showing sons, how a simple toy could carry the weight of an entire people, their history, their hope. As evening deepens, the mood in the room shifts. The wild laughter softens to gentle murmurs. The frantic spinning slows to thoughtful turns. Children begin to feel the deeper currents, the ancient wisdom flowing through their fingertips. Each dreidel now seems heavier, more significant, carrying not just the hope of winning chocolate coins, but the dreams of countless generations before them. A young boy holds his dreidel up to the light, studying the letters more carefully now. He traces the Hebrew characters with his small finger, feeling connected to something vast, something enduring. His grandmother nods approvingly, recognizing the moment when play transforms into understanding, when a game becomes a bridge, connecting past to present, child to ancestor, tradition to tomorrow. The dreidel spins one more time, slower now, more deliberate. As it wobbles to a stop, the room falls quiet. Everyone gathered around the table feels it, this sacred pause, where the playful meets the profound, where the innocent joy of childhood touches the deep wisdom of ages. The spinning top has done its work, teaching without preaching, connecting without forcing. These moments, these quiet revelations, happen in homes around the world, where dreidels spin in New York apartments, London flats, Tel Aviv suburbs, each home different, each family unique, yet all connected by this simple wooden top, all bound together by the ancient letters, the shared story, the common thread of memory and hope, spinning through time, generation to generation. The children carefully gather their dreidels, some wooden, some plastic, some handed down from great-grandparents, others bought just this year, each one precious, each one a keeper of stories. They understand now, in their young hearts, that this is more than a game, more than a toy. It is a bridge, a teacher, a guardian of memory. As the dreidel games wind down, something new stirs in the air. The warm scent of oil heating, the sound of onions sizzling. From the kitchen comes the promise of latkes, golden and crisp. The dreidel has prepared the way, teaching through play, connecting through joy. Now the family will gather around another tradition, another celebration, another thread in the beautiful tapestry of Hanukkah. The dreidels rest now, scattered across the table like sleeping sentinels. Their work is done for tonight, but their story continues. Tomorrow they will spin again, teaching new lessons, creating new memories, binding families together with invisible threads of tradition, love, and the enduring power of play. The Hebrew letters catch the last light, whispering their ancient promise. A great miracle happened, and continues to happen here. In the gentle quiet that follows, we can almost hear them. All the dreidels that have ever spun, all the children who have ever played, all the families who have ever gathered, their voices blend together, creating a soft chorus of connection, of continuity, of hope. The dreidel has taught us well that sometimes the most profound truths come wrapped in the simplest joys. Spinning, always spinning toward tomorrow. Chapter 4. Fried Delights. We enter the warm heart of the kitchen, where ancient traditions come alive through the gentle art of cooking. Here, surrounded by the soft glow of candlelight, we discover how simple ingredients transform into sacred memories. The miracle of oil, that burned for 8 nights, lives on in every golden bite, in every careful preparation, in every loving hand that stirs the batter with reverence. Steam rises from the heavy iron pan, carrying with it the whispers of generations past. The oil begins to warm, slowly, patiently, just as our ancestors waited for their temple lamps to kindle. Each bubble that forms tells a story, each gentle sizzle speaks of hope restored. This is not merely cooking, this is ceremony, this is memory made tangible, this is the sacred act of nourishing both body and soul. Potatoes rest on the wooden cutting board, their earthy skin still dusted with soil from distant fields. Gentle hands peel away the layers, revealing the pale flesh within, ready to become something beautiful. The rhythmic scraping of the peeler creates a quiet meditation, a moment of pause before transformation. These simple tubers will soon become latkes, golden pancakes that carry the essence of survival, of making something precious from humble beginnings. The grater awaits, its surface catching the soft kitchen light. Slowly, carefully, the potatoes are transformed, shredded into fine ribbons that fall like winter snow into the waiting bowl. Each stroke of the grater echoes with purpose, with intention, with love. The sharp sound softens into rhythm, a gentle percussion that has accompanied Jewish kitchens for centuries, connecting this moment to countless others, across time and distance. Salt draws moisture from the shredded potatoes, creating tiny pools of starchy water that will be carefully pressed away. This ancient technique, passed from grandmother to grandchild, ensures the latkes will crisp properly, golden and light. The waiting time becomes a meditation, a pause for gratitude, for the abundance that allows such simple ingredients to become something extraordinary. Patience here, as in all sacred things, is essential. Onions join the potatoes, their sharp sweetness, mellowing the earthiness of the tubers. Tears may flow, but they are tears of joy, of connection to tradition, of love expressed through the ancient act of feeding others. The mixture comes together, bound by beaten eggs, strengthened with flour, seasoned with care. Each ingredient contributes its gift, creating something greater than the sum of its parts. The oil shimmers now, heated to perfect temperature, ready to receive the first spoonfuls of batter. This moment requires attention, respect, understanding. Too hot, and the latkes burn; too cool, and they absorb too much oil. The experienced cook knows by sight, by sound, by instinct when the oil is ready. This knowledge, earned through years of practice, is itself a form of prayer. The first latke enters the oil with a gentle hiss, immediately beginning its transformation. Bubbles dance around its edges, lifting it slightly, cradling it in heated embrace. The kitchen fills with the most wonderful aroma, nutty, rich, comforting beyond words. This scent has the power to transport, to heal, to remind us that some joys are both simple and profound, that some pleasures connect us to our deepest roots. Golden brown and crispy, the latkes emerge from their oil bath, placed gently on paper to drain. Each one is perfect in its imperfection, irregular in shape, unique in character, like the people who will soon enjoy them. The miracle oil, remembered in every drop, has done its work, transforming simple ingredients into something that nourishes both hunger and spirit, both present need and ancient memory. Now attention turns to savganiot, those pillowy donuts that capture sweetness itself. Yeast works its quiet magic in warm dough, creating tiny bubbles of air that will make these treats light as clouds. The dough rises slowly, patiently, doubling in size, expanding with possibility. This gentle transformation mirrors the way small acts of faith can grow into something beautiful, something that brings joy to many. Flour dusts the work surface like fresh snow, and the risen dough is turned out gently, respectfully, ready for shaping. Rolling pin in hand, the cook works with practiced ease, creating circles of possibility, each one destined to become a vessel for sweetness. The repetitive motion becomes meditative, soothing, a dance of hands and heart that has been performed in Jewish kitchens for generations upon generations. Into the oil they go, these rounds of dough that will soon bloom into golden spheres of joy. They puff and swell, transforming before our eyes, becoming something magical. The oil embraces them, cooks them, gifts them with that perfect golden hue that speaks of doneness, of readiness, of transformation complete. Each Sufgania emerges as a small miracle, light, airy, ready for its final blessing of sweetness. Jam waits to fill these tender vessels. Raspberry, strawberry, apricot, each flavor a burst of summer preserved for winter days. With careful precision, a pastry bag filled with sweetness finds its way into each warm Sufgania, filling it with liquid joy. The contrast is perfect. The light dough, the rich filling, the powdered sugar that will soon dust the tops like gentle snowfall. As the cooking concludes, the kitchen holds the warmth of tradition, the aroma of memory, the satisfaction of work well done. These foods, born of simple ingredients and ancient wisdom, carry within them stories of survival, of celebration, of community. Each bite will connect those who partake to generations past, to struggles overcome, to light triumphant over darkness, to hope sustained against all odds. The feast is prepared, but food alone does not make a celebration complete. As plates are arranged and candles flicker, we sense the gathering energy of story, of song, of shared remembrance. The kitchen has done its work, transforming ingredients into sustenance, but now other spaces call, spaces where voices will rise in ancient melodies, where tales will be told that have been passed down through countless generations. We leave the kitchen now, carrying with us the warmth of its embrace, the satisfaction of tradition honored, the sweet anticipation of community gathered. The aroma of fried delights follows us, a gentle reminder of the miracle we have just witnessed, the transformation of simple into sacred, of ingredients into memories, of cooking into prayer. Ahead await the storytellers, the singers, the keepers of ancient wisdom. Chapter 5. Song of the Maccabees. In the gentle twilight of Hanukkah evening, voices rise like incense, carrying ancient words that have crossed centuries to reach our hearts. Tonight we explore the melodies that bind generations, the prayers whispered in hushed reverence, the songs that transform ordinary moments into sacred ones. Here, in this chapter, we discover how music becomes memory, how rhythm becomes remembrance, how the simplest hum can kindle the deepest connection to something eternal and beautiful. The evening begins with the Al-Hanisim, a prayer of gratitude that flows like honey from the lips of the faithful. In homes across the world, families gather around flickering candles, their voices joining in soft unison. The Hebrew words roll gently, each syllable a small miracle, each phrase a bridge connecting the present moment to the courage of ancient warriors. Listen, as the prayer unfolds, its rhythm as steady as a heartbeat, its meaning as warm as candlelight dancing on beloved faces. The prayer speaks of miracles, of oil that should have lasted one day but burned for 8. These words, spoken in hushed reverence, carry the weight of wonder. Children lean forward, absorbing not just the meaning but the music of their heritage. Their grandparents' voices, weathered by time, yet strong with faith, blend with younger ones, still learning the ancient rhythms. In this moment, the dining room becomes a sanctuary, ordinary voices become a choir, and gratitude takes flight on wings of melody. As the Al-Hanisim concludes, the atmosphere shifts subtly, like clouds parting to reveal starlight. The formal prayer gives way to something more playful, more celebratory. Someone begins to hum, a familiar tune that makes eyes brighten and feet tap beneath the table. It's the opening notes of O Hanukkah, that beloved song that has turned countless winter evenings into celebrations. The melody rises, infectious in its joy, drawing everyone into its warm embrace with promises of dancing and delight. O Hanukkah, come light the menorah. The words tumble forth with childlike enthusiasm. The rhythm builds, hands clapping in time, bodies swaying as the ancient celebration finds new expression in familiar. Between the verses, something magical happens. The formal structure gives way to improvisation. As O Hanukkah fades, the room doesn't fall silent. Instead, it fills with something softer, more. The Hebrew version follows, Ma'oz Tzur, with its ancient gravitas and profound beauty. The words are older than cathedrals, older than empires, yet they feel as immediate as breath. Grandmother's voice leads, her Hebrew flowing like water over stones, worn smooth by decades of repetition, yet somehow fresh with each telling. The younger voices follow, stumbling sometimes on unfamiliar syllables, but finding their way, guided by love and the patient correction of those who came before them, through song and story. In the spaces between songs, in the gentle pauses where voices rest and hearts listen, something profound occurs. The melodies continue to resonate, not just in the air but in the very bones of those gathered. Music becomes memory, sound becomes soul. Each family member carries these tunes within them, humming them while washing dishes, singing them in shower stalls and during long commutes. The songs of Hanukkah don't end when the evening ends. They echo through ordinary moments, sanctifying the everyday with their presence. A child asks about the words, their meaning, their history, and so the evening expands, becoming not just celebration but education, not just performance but preservation. Stories unfold between verses, tales of how these songs traveled across oceans, how they survived persecution, how they adapted to new languages and new lands while keeping their essential spirit intact. Each melody carries within it the DNA of survival, the genetic code of hope that has sustained a people through millennia of wandering and waiting. The conversation turns to other songs, half-remembered lullabies that grandmothers sang, playground chants that made Hebrew school bearable, camp songs that turned summer nights into adventures. Each memory carries its own melody, its own rhythm of remembering. Voices grow softer now, more reflective, as the evening deepens and the candles burn lower. The music hasn't stopped. It has simply become more intimate, more personal, more connected to the heart than to performance or perfection, or any external measure of success. Someone begins to hum without words, just pure melody floating through the air like smoke from the menorah. Others join, creating harmonies that have never been written down, that exist only in this moment, in this room, among these voices. It's improvisation in its purest form, creation happening in real time, tradition being born even as ancient traditions are honored. The hum rises and falls like breathing, like ocean waves, like the eternal rhythm that underlies all music, all prayer, all human connection. The melodies begin to wind down, voices growing softer, harmonies resolving into simple unison, and finally into comfortable silence. But the music hasn't ended, it has simply moved inward, taken residence in hearts that will carry these songs forward into the night, into tomorrow, into all the tomorrows yet to come. The evening has woven itself into memory, each voice now part of a larger chorus that spans generations, that connects past to present to future, through the simple, powerful act of singing together. As chairs are pushed back and dishes cleared, the songs continue in whispered fragments, in unconscious humming, in the rhythm of footsteps moving through familiar routines. Children practice the Hebrew under their breath. Adults find themselves humming, O Hanukkah, while loading the dishwasher. The music has become part of them, woven into the fabric of this night, this celebration, this family. It will surface again in unexpected moments, triggered by candlelight, by memory, by the simple human need to connect with something larger than ourselves. In the quiet that follows, in the gentle space between celebration and rest, the songs of the Maccabees continue their eternal work. They bind families together, they preserve history, they transform ordinary voices into something sacred and significant. Tonight, these melodies have done what they have always done, what they will always do. They have taken separate hearts and made them one, taken individual voices and woven them into harmony, taken a simple evening and made it a memory that will last forever. Chapter 6. Solitude in Sociability. As evening settles over the household, the laughter from dinner slowly fades into whispered conversations. The menorah stands tall in the window, its flames casting gentle shadows across worn prayer books and family photographs. Here, in these quiet moments between celebration and rest, we discover Hanukkah's most intimate gift, the space for personal reflection. While children count their gifts and adults clean dishes, some souls seek solitude beside the flickering light, finding peace in contemplation. The eighth night approaches, yet tonight feels different. Sarah draws her shawl closer as she settles into the armchair beside the menorah. The room holds the day's warmth, potato latke, oil still lingering in the air, voices from the kitchen creating a distant hum. But here, in this pool of candlelight, time slows. Her grandmother's siddur rests open in her lap, its pages yellowed with decades of prayers. This is where community celebration transforms into personal communion with something eternal. Each flame dances with its own rhythm, casting shifting patterns on the wall behind. The wax drips slowly, marking time in its own ancient way. Sarah's fingers trace the Hebrew letters on the page. Though she doesn't need to read them, these words have lived in her heart since childhood. The Shema whispers from her lips, barely audible above the candle's gentle crackle. In this solitude, surrounded by the warmth of family in distant rooms, she finds the deepest connection to her heritage. The menorah's light reflects off the window glass, creating a double image. The flames inside, and their ghostly twins looking back from the darkness beyond. This is the paradox of Hanukkah's eighth night. We are never truly alone, yet solitude becomes sacred. The Maccabees' oil burned in temple solitude, witnessed only by stone walls and starlight. Tonight, that same miracle flickers in countless windows, each flame a private meditation, each household a sanctuary of personal prayer and quiet thanksgiving. A child's footsteps patter overhead as someone prepares for bed. The sounds of ordinary life continue, water running, doors closing softly, the settling sounds of a house at rest. Yet here beside the menorah, time feels suspended. The flames burn steadily, neither hurried nor delayed. They simply exist, as they have for 8 nights, as they will until sunrise. In their presence, Sarah finds herself breathing deeper, her shoulders relaxing, her thoughts settling like dust after a long day. The prayer book's pages rustle softly as a gentle breeze moves through the room. These are not the grand prayers of synagogue services, with their formal melodies and communal responses. These are the whispered conversations between soul and source, the quiet gratitudes that rise like incense from a grateful heart. Each flame represents not just a night but a moment of recognition, that light persists even in darkness, that hope endures even in uncertainty, that faith burns bright even in solitude. Through the window, other menorahs glow in distant homes, each one a beacon of shared yet private observance. The neighborhood settles into evening quiet, streetlights creating pools of illumination along empty sidewalks. Children have been tucked into beds with stories of brave Maccabees and miraculous oil. Adults finish their evening tasks with gentle efficiency. But in these moments of solitary reflection, the true miracle continues, the quiet persistence of faith, burning steadily through generations of individual hearts. Sarah's eyes drift closed for a moment, though the candle flames dance behind her eyelids in patterns of gold and amber. The warmth on her face speaks of countless ancestors who sat in similar contemplation, their own menorahs casting light in windows across centuries and continents. In Prague, in Cordoba, in Jerusalem, the same flames, the same quiet prayers, the same search for meaning in the spaces between celebration. Tonight she joins that endless procession of solitary seekers, connected by light across time. The house grows quieter still. Conversations fade to murmurs, then to the comfortable silence of contentment. The menorah's flames flicker occasionally, stirred by currents of warm air rising from the heating vents below. These small movements seem like gestures, the candles communicating in their ancient language of light and shadow. Sarah finds herself studying each flame individually, noting how they lean toward each other, how they dance in subtle harmony, how they transform ordinary wax into something luminous and sacred. Her grandmother's voice echoes in memory, stories told on nights just like this, when the celebrations quieted and wisdom emerged in whispered tales. How the oil was meant to last one day, but stretched to 8. How the temple was reclaimed not through conquest, but through dedication. How light triumphed not by defeating darkness, but by refusing to be extinguished. These lessons, passed from lap to lap, from bedside to bedside, now find their home in Sarah's own quiet contemplation. The clock on the mantel ticks steadily, marking the passage of ordinary time, while the candles burn in sacred time. Outside, the world continues its relentless pace, emails arriving, news cycling, the constant motion of modern life. But here, in this circle of candlelight, different laws apply. Here, one moment can contain eternity. Here, silence speaks louder than words. Here, the simple act of being present becomes the deepest form of prayer, the most profound celebration. A cat stretches and settles near the window, drawn to the warmth of both candles and contemplation. Animals understand what humans sometimes forget, that peace exists in presence, that holiness dwells in stillness. The menorah's flames reflect in the cat's eyes, creating tiny duplicate celebrations. Sarah smiles at this small companion in solitude, remembering how her grandmother always said that God speaks through all creatures, sometimes most clearly through the ones who simply know how to be still and watch. As the evening deepens, Sarah begins to sense the transition approaching, from solitary reflection toward thoughts of giving and sharing. The menorah's light seems to expand, pushing back the darkness, not just in this room, but in her understanding. Tomorrow will bring gift exchanges and family gatherings, the joyful chaos of Hanukkah's final celebrations. But tonight's solitude prepares her heart for that generosity, filling her cup so that she might pour out blessings on others with authentic abundance. The flames burn lower now, their wax forming small pools at the base of each candle. This, too, is part of the meditation, the acceptance that all light eventually transforms, that all moments of illumination lead towards something new. The candles give themselves completely, holding nothing back, spending themselves in service of brightness. In their example, Sarah finds a lesson about true generosity, how the deepest gifts come not from abundance, but from the willingness to be consumed in love. She thinks of the gifts waiting in closets and drawers, books chosen with care, scarves knitted during autumn evenings, small treasures gathered throughout the year with specific loved ones in mind. But the menorah's flames remind her that the greatest gifts cannot be wrapped. They are moments like this, presents offered freely, attention given without reservation, the simple gift of witnessing each other's journey through darkness toward light. These offerings cost nothing, yet contain everything sacred about human connection. As Sarah finally closes the prayer book and prepares to join her family in the warm kitchen, she carries with her the stillness she has found. The menorah will burn for another hour, perhaps two, its light continuing the vigil even without human witness. But its gifts, the peace, the perspective, the deep sense of belonging to something larger than herself, these will accompany her into tomorrow's celebrations, enriching every embrace, every exchange, every moment of shared joy with this night's profound solitude. Chapter 7. Gift of Giving. As the seventh candle flickers to life, we discover the gentle tradition that has woven itself into Hanukkah celebrations across generations. The practice of giving during these 8 sacred nights carries a history as rich as the oil that burned in the ancient temple. Tonight, we explore how simple gestures of love transformed into cherished customs that warm hearts through winter's darkest evenings. In Jewish homes around the world, the tradition of Hanukkah gelt began centuries ago as a way to remember the coins used in the temple. These small golden chocolates wrapped in foil became symbols of abundance and blessing. Children's eyes would light up as they discovered these sweet treasures, their laughter echoing through candlelit rooms. The simple act of giving chocolate coins connected families to their ancestors' faith and resilience. The word gelt itself whispers of history, meaning money in Yiddish. These gifts honored the triumph of the Maccabees and their rededication of the temple. Scholars would receive coins to continue their studies. Teachers were honored for sharing wisdom, and children learned the joy of both giving and receiving. This ancient practice bloomed into something beautiful, a bridge connecting sacred memory with present celebration through simple acts of generosity. As centuries passed, the tradition evolved, expanding beyond coins, to embrace gifts of all kinds. Families began exchanging books that would nurture young minds, warm scarves knitted with love during long winter evenings, and handmade treasures that carried the maker's heart within their stitches. Each present became a vessel for affection, a tangible expression of bonds that no darkness could diminish. The gifts grew, but the intention remained pure. Picture a grandmother's weathered hands carefully wrapping a small package. Her fingers move slowly, deliberately, as she folds the paper with the same care she once used to braid challah. Inside lies a simple wooden dreidel, carved by her late husband decades ago. This gift carries more than wooden memory. It holds the continuation of tradition, the passing of stories from one generation to the next through loving hands. Children gather around kitchen tables, their small fingers working diligently to create presents for parents and siblings. Construction paper transforms into heartfelt cards decorated with crayon menorahs. Handprint art becomes treasured keepsakes that mothers will save in special boxes for decades. These gifts, crafted with innocent devotion, often mean more than any store-bought treasure. Love, expressed through a child's creativity, becomes the most precious offering of all. The ritual of gift-giving unfolds differently in each household. Some families present one gift each night, creating anticipation that builds like the growing menorah light. Others save all presents for a single evening of abundance. The timing matters less than the intention. Each wrapped package represents thoughtfulness, the giver's desire to bring joy to someone they cherish. These moments create memories that will warm hearts long after the candles burn down. Listen closely to the sound of rustling paper, the gentle tear of tape being removed with careful fingers. Watch as ribbons fall away like silk waterfalls, revealing surprises hidden beneath layers of anticipation. The receiver's face transforms, eyes widening, lips curving into smiles that could light the darkest night. These moments of revelation remind us that the true gift lies not in the object itself, but in the love that prompted its giving. In some families, the gifts reflect the values they hold most dear. Books that will expand minds and nurture wisdom. Art supplies that will unlock creativity and self-expression. Musical instruments that will fill homes with melody for years to come. These thoughtful choices reveal how Hanukkah gifts can plant seeds of growth, offering recipients tools to flourish and discover new passions that will enrich their entire lives ahead. The exchange of presents creates a beautiful dance. Recipients become givers, their gratitude expressed through carefully chosen tokens of appreciation. A daughter presents her mother with a hand-sewn apron. A son offers his father a book of poetry copied in his own careful handwriting. These reciprocal gestures weave a tapestry of mutual love and respect, transforming individual acts of kindness into a celebration of family bonds that strengthen with each passing year. Beyond the immediate family circle, Hanukkah giving extends to embrace the wider community. Neighbors receive plates of fresh latkes, teachers find small tokens of gratitude on their desks, and those in need discover unexpected kindnesses appearing at their doorsteps. This expansion of generosity reflects the festival's deeper message that light shared multiplies rather than diminishes, creating warmth that spreads far beyond its original source, touching lives in unexpected ways. The true magic of Hanukkah giving lies not in the monetary value of presents, but in their emotional weight. A pressed flower saved from summer becomes precious when given with love. A smooth stone collected from a meaningful place carries more significance than precious gems. These simple offerings demonstrate how the heart's intention transforms ordinary objects into extraordinary expressions of care that will be treasured for lifetimes to come. As families gather to exchange their gifts, laughter fills the air like music. Children's delighted squeals blend with adults' gentle chuckles, creating a symphony of joy that echoes through the home. These sounds become part of the house's memory, absorbed into walls that will whisper of happiness long after the celebration ends. The gift of shared laughter proves to be the most valuable present of all, enriching souls in ways material objects never could. In the quiet moments after gifts are opened, families often reflect on the deeper meaning of their exchanges. They recognize that in giving, they have received the gift of joy from another's happiness. In receiving, they have offered the gift of gratitude that warms the giver's heart. This beautiful cycle reveals how generosity creates abundance that multiplies beyond measure, demonstrating that love shared becomes love magnified in return through countless mysterious ways. The tradition of Hanukkah giving teaches us that true generosity extends beyond material offerings. It includes the gift of presence, of undivided attention in our hurried world. It encompasses the gift of forgiveness for old hurts, of patience with family quirks, of acceptance for differences that make each person unique. These intangible presents often prove more valuable than any wrapped package, creating bonds that strengthen rather than fade with time's gentle passage. As Chapter 7 draws to its close, we see how the gift of giving during Hanukkah illuminates a profound truth, that generosity is both an expression of faith and a practice that deepens it. Each present exchanged becomes a prayer of gratitude. Each moment of joy shared becomes an offering of hope. These simple acts prepare our hearts for the deeper reflections that await us in the festival's final teachings about light, love, and lasting legacy. Chapter 8. Sunset of the 8th Day. The final evening arrives like a gentle whisper across the winter sky. Tonight, the 8th candle awaits its moment of glory. For 7 nights the menorah has grown brighter, each flame adding its voice to an ancient song of resilience. Now, as shadows lengthen and the world settles into twilight, families gather once more around their glowing menorahs, knowing this sacred time draws to its blessed close, yet feeling its warmth will linger. In homes across the world, children press close to their parents, their faces illuminated by the dancing light of 7 candles. The shamash stands tall, ready to kindle the final flame. There is something bittersweet in this moment, a recognition that all beautiful things must come to their natural end. Yet in this ending lies the promise of renewal, the certainty that next year will bring another festival of lights, another chance to remember, another opportunity to celebrate. The match strikes, its small flame trembling in the evening air. With careful hands, someone lifts it to the shamash, which catches fire with a gentle whoosh. Then, slowly, reverently, the shamash is brought to the 8th and final candle. The wick accepts the flame, and suddenly, the menorah blazes with complete radiance, 8 lights dancing together in perfect harmony, casting their golden glow across expectant faces, painting the room in warmth and wonder. The blessing flows like honey from lips that have spoken these words for generations, voices joining together in ancient Hebrew, each syllable carrying the weight of history, the joy of survival, the miracle of persistence. Children stumble over unfamiliar sounds, while grandparents close their eyes and let the familiar prayers wash over them. The words themselves seem to shimmer in the candlelight, connecting this moment to countless others, stretching back through time like an unbroken chain. From the kitchen comes the final sizzle of latkes. golden pancakes turning crispy in the oil, their aroma mixing with the scent of melting candle wax. Tonight, these simple potato cakes taste somehow more precious, knowing they are the last of the season. Each bite carries the flavor of tradition, of hands that learned this recipe from other hands, of kitchens filled with laughter and love, of a people who found ways to celebrate even in the darkest times. The dreidel spins one final time, its Hebrew letters catching the light as it whirls. Nun, Gimel, Hey, Shin. A great miracle happened there. Children chant as it wobbles and falls. Yet tonight the greater miracle seems to be right here, in this room, in these faces, in the simple act of coming together, of remembering, of keeping ancient flames alive in modern hearts. The dreidel settles, and someone reaches to spin it once again, because some joys are too precious to end. Stories flow like wine around the table, tales of brave Maccabees and the temple that would not surrender, of oil that burned for 8 nights when it should have lasted only 1. But tonight, new stories are being born, memories of this celebration, of these faces, of this particular constellation of candles. Children will remember their grandmother's hands as she lit the menorah, the way the light reflected in her eyes, the warmth that had nothing to do with temperature. Songs rise from throats both young and old, Maus Tzur echoing through the room like a prayer-made melody, voices harmonizing across generations. Some sing in Hebrew, others in the languages of their adopted homes, but the emotion transcends words. The music carries something deeper than language, a sense of belonging, of continuity, of being part of something larger and more enduring than any single life. The songs will end, but their echoes will linger in memory. Children lean against their parents, full bellies and flickering light making them drowsy, yet reluctant to let this night end. Their eyelids grow heavy as they watch the flames dance, but they fight sleep, knowing that tomorrow the candles will be blown out, the menorah put away, the magic tucked back into its box for another year. In their sleepy minds they are already counting days, marking time until the next festival of lights, until the miracle can happen again. Grandparents share knowing glances across the table, having witnessed this same bittersweet ending dozens of times. They understand what the children are only beginning to learn, that endings and beginnings are different faces of the same truth, that every sunset promises a dawn, that every Hanukkah that ends is also the first step toward the next one. Their weathered hands reach out to comfort small ones, passing on the wisdom that comes only with time. The gifts have been given, the games played, the foods savored. Yet something more precious than any material thing has been exchanged here. Connection has been renewed. Stories have been passed down. Traditions have been strengthened. In a world that often feels chaotic and uncertain, this ancient ritual has provided an anchor, a reminder of what matters most, of who we are and whose we are. These flames carry more than light, they carry identity. Outside, winter wind rattles the windows, but inside the warmth holds strong. The 8 candles burn steadily, their light pushing back the darkness with quiet determination. This is what the Maccabees fought for, not just religious freedom, but the right to gather like this, to light candles, to tell stories, to pass on what matters most. Each flame represents a choice, the decision to remember, to resist, to hope, to continue. Neighbors peek through windows at the menorah, glowing in the darkness. Some pause their evening walks to admire the sight. Children point and ask questions their parents struggle to answer. In this simple display of faith, boundaries blur, hearts soften, understanding grows. The light that began in an ancient temple continues its work, not just illuminating rooms, but illuminating minds, opening doors, building bridges, creating space for wonder in a world that often forgets to wonder. The final prayers are whispered, voices growing soft with the lateness of the hour. Gratitude spills from hearts that have been filled to overflowing. Thank you for this time together, for these traditions that bind us, for the light that never truly goes out, even when the candles are extinguished. The words trail into silence, but the feeling remains, settling into the room like blessing, like peace, like love made visible in flame and shadow. Soon the candles will burn down to nothing, wax pooling at their bases, flames growing smaller and smaller until they flicker out. The menorah will be cleaned, put away, stored until next year. But the light itself, that cannot be stored, it lives now in hearts and minds, in memories being made, in children who will remember this night, in the decision to keep sacred things sacred, in the commitment to carry light into darkness wherever it may be found. The 8th day draws to its close. But the miracle continues, not in burning oil or temple flames, but in the choice to gather, to remember, to hope, to celebrate what it means to be human, to be connected, to be part of something larger than ourselves. The Festival of Lights ends, but the Festival of the Heart goes on, carried forward by all who have felt the warmth of tradition, who have tasted the sweetness of belonging, who have seen light triumph over darkness once again. Chapter 9. Everlasting Light. As our journey through Hanukkah draws to its gentle close, we pause to reflect on all we have witnessed. The flickering flames have told their ancient stories, the dreidels have spun their tales of survival, and families have gathered around tables heavy with tradition. Now, in these final moments, we turn our gaze toward the deeper meaning that binds it all together in eternal light. The menorah stands before us, its 8 lights glowing with quiet dignity, each flame a testament to resilience that has endured through centuries. These are not merely candles, but beacons of hope that have guided the Jewish people through their darkest hours. In their steady glow, we see reflected the faces of countless generations, each adding their own chapter to this continuing story of faith. Think of the hands that have lit these candles over the millennia, weathered fingers trembling with age, young palms steady with determination, mothers teaching daughters, fathers guiding sons. Each lighting ceremony connects us to that first miracle in the temple, when one day's oil burned for 8, defying the laws of nature through divine intervention and unwavering belief. The light speaks to something deeper than ritual, something that transcends the physical flame itself. It whispers of identity preserved against impossible odds, of culture maintained through exile and persecution, of hope kindled even when darkness seemed absolute. In Jewish homes across the world, this light burns as a quiet declaration: we are still here, we remember, we endure. Around dinner tables tonight, families gather as they have for generations, sharing stories that bind past to present. Grandparents speak of Hanukkahs from their own childhood, their voices soft with memory, while children listen with wide eyes, absorbing traditions that will one day pass through their own lips. The cycle continues, unbroken, like the eternal flame itself, always burning, never extinguished. The sweet aroma of latkes still lingers in the kitchen, mixed with the warm scent of melting wax and the faint perfume of oil. These sensory memories embed themselves deep in the heart, creating associations that will last a lifetime. Years from now, the smell of potato pancakes will transport these children back to this moment, to safety, to belonging, to love. Songs fade into gentle whispers as the evening grows late, Hebrew melodies that have echoed through time itself. Ma'at Tzur, Rock of Ages, carries within its notes the triumph of the Maccabees, the joy of liberation, the gratitude of a people who never forgot their covenant. Even as voices quiet, the song continues in the heart, eternal as the flame, constant as faith itself. Children's laughter softens to contented sighs as they clutch new dreidels, chocolate coins, books that will expand their understanding of who they are. But the greatest gift remains intangible, the sense of connection to something larger than themselves, to a community, to a history, to a future they will help shape with their own choices and commitments to tradition. In this quiet reflection, we understand that Hanukkah is more than historical commemoration. It is a living philosophy. It teaches us that small lights can pierce great darkness, that few can overcome many when righteousness guides their cause, that miracles happen when faith meets action, that dedication to principle can change the course of history itself, one flame at a time. The festival reminds us that freedom is not a gift, but a responsibility that must be actively maintained. Just as the temple needed to be reclaimed and rededicated, so too must each generation reclaim and rededicate itself to the values that define them. The oil that burned for 8 days asks us, what will you keep burning in your own life, your own community, your own time? As candles burn lower, their light seems to grow more precious, more meaningful. Perhaps this is the deeper lesson, that things of true value become more beautiful as they are shared, more powerful as they are given away. The light of one candle can kindle thousands without dimming, just as wisdom shared multiplies rather than diminishes, growing stronger with each transmission. In homes around the world tonight, the menorah stands sentinel, its flames casting dancing shadows on walls that have witnessed countless celebrations. These shadows tell their own stories, of families who survived, who thrived, who chose hope over despair, light over darkness. They are the visual echo of resilience itself, moving, alive, eternal, as the people they represent. The warmth from the menorah spreads beyond its physical heat, creating an atmosphere of peace that settles over the household like a gentle blanket. This is the true gift of Hanukkah, not just the celebration of an ancient victory, but the creation of sacred space in ordinary time, the transformation of daily life into something holy, something connected to the infinite. As we prepare to close this chapter, we carry with us the understanding that every Jewish family lighting candles tonight participates in something magnificent, a chain of remembrance that stretches back over 2,000 years. They are not just observers of history, but active participants in its continuation, keepers of the flame, guardians of memory, builders of tomorrow. The last wisps of candle smoke rise toward heaven, carrying with them the prayers and hopes of another generation. But this is not truly an ending, for tomorrow night, candles will be lit again somewhere in the world, songs will be sung, stories will be told, and the eternal light will continue its patient, persistent, powerful glow across time itself. So rest now, carried on the gentle currents of tradition and memory, knowing that some lights never go out, some stories never end, and some victories echo through eternity. The Festival of Lights lives on, in every flame that dances, in every child who learns, in every heart that remembers. Sweet dreams, wrapped in the everlasting light of Hanukkah's eternal promise.